Today we're going to tie the Superbug caddis pupa. We start by putting a sedge or caddis hook with a red tungsten bead into the jaws of our vise. Here I'm using a 6/0 Orvis thread in light gray. Attach your thread onto your hook and bring it back to just above the barb of the hook, and then cut off your extra thread. Now take a 2 to 3 inch piece of small red ultra wire and tie that onto your hook. Wrap your thread forward and then back again to lock it in place. Next, take about a 3-inch strand of Superbug yarn. Here I'm using a light tan color, but you can use just about any color combination to match a variety of insects. Bring your thread forward and then back again to the same tying point as your red ultra wire before bringing your thread back to just behind the bead. Yes, I know what you're thinking. I should have cut off that extra little bit of yarn hanging out, but I couldn't see it from my side of the fly. Take this as a precautionary warning. Next, wrap your yarn in tight touching wraps all the way to just behind the bead. While I wrap that on, why not subscribe to the channel so you never miss a video? Then give a couple wraps of thread just behind the yarn and a couple in front before cutting it off as close to the bead as possible. Next, we're going to take our ultra wire and counter wrap it in loose wraps all the way up to just behind the bead. Tie it off by giving it a couple wraps behind and a couple wraps in front before helicoptering it free. The next step is to take a partridge feather, here from Cook's Hill, tied in tip first just behind the bead. Cut off the tips as close to the bead as you can before grabbing your hackle pliers. Now you can either wrap the feather around the hook or use your rotary function of your vise to give it about 2 to 3 wraps. You don't want to go too heavy on this fly, you want to keep it pretty sparse. Then carefully take your thread and wrap it around the feather a couple of times to tie it off before cutting off the stem and extra fibers. Pull back all the remaining fibers before building up a little head just behind the bead. Then grab your whip finishing tool and do a few whip finishes before cutting your thread free. Last, take your favorite head cement, I use Sally Hansen Hard as Nails, and add 1 drop right behind the bead. And there you have it, Superbug caddis pupa.